So, welcome to our lesson on chemistry, and today I want to start taking you through. This is the holiday, a very long one indeed, and I'm going to work with you until we are done with the syllabus of chemistry. So, first of all, we are going to check on the introduction to chemistry. Very simple techniques. Some of them you learned in primary school. In fact, the first thing that we are going to check here is the review of whatever you learned in primary. Most of the things in this topic are what you already know. We are just reviewing so that now we learn the new things. The only thing that is new in this topic maybe is defining the term chemistry. You know, in primary, you are talking about a subject called science. Now, here in high school, science is divided into three. We have chemistry, we have physics, and we have biology, which are now different subjects, but all of them are science. Now, whatever we are going to learn through this topic, I'm sharing the screen for you. The first one is what is chemistry, matter, properties of matter, mixtures, conductors and non-conductors, drugs and drug abuse, role of chemistry in the society, apparatus used in chemistry, sources of heat, the Bunsen burner, which is the main source of heat. Then we look at laboratory and safety in the laboratory. Then we look at the revision questions. Uh, Anytime you are doing something, you must always have an objective, and that's what you are always told. So the objectives of this particular topic is this. By the end of this chapter or topic, you should be able to define chemistry, identify the topics studied in primary school, science, which are part of chemistry, yes. Um, State the role of chemistry in a society and identify some applications of chemistry in everyday life. We don't study chemistry for fun, we study it because it has or it will play a role in the society. Identify and state the use of common apparatus in the laboratory, operate a Bunsen burner, observe safety in the laboratory. Yes. Um, let's look at the content now. What are you going to study? Review the following topics. This is what we are going to review. A review means we are checking on what you already know, what you learned in primary. Properties of matter, states of matter, mixtures and their separations. That's what we will check. Conductors and non-conductors of electricity. Drugs and drug abuse. That is prescription dosage and abuse of drugs. Chemistry and the society. Uh, Definition of chemistry and its role in the society. We are going to check on that. Chemistry laboratory. We are going to check how chemistry laboratory is. I believe if you are learning this and you are already in Form 1, you must have gone to the lab, you have seen apparatus, you have seen all this that I'm talking about. But if you are here to join Form 1, then it means that you will see what I'm talking about. So we are supposed to look at the heating apparatus, part of a Bunsen burner and its flame, measuring apparatus, the apparatus that are being used to measure maybe volume, temperature, mass, time. Yes. Then we check on other many apparatus. And lastly, we look at the laboratory safety rules. Lab being one of the places where chemicals are stored. So care and safety is the first priority. So let's now start our topic, introduction to chemistry. Um, as I said earlier, we have three sciences. One of them is chemistry, the other one is biology and physics. Also, in this channel of Ambassador Foundation, we are bringing new physics. So you can still look for the introduction to physics and also see what is taking place over there. What is chemistry? I've given you here. It is the study of the structure, properties, and composition of matter and the changes that matter undergoes. So if somebody asks you chemistry, give that particular statement. Study of the structure, properties and composition of matter, and the changes that matter undergoes. States of matter and its properties, mixtures, and the methods of separation and drugs are studied in this particular subject called chemistry. The study of chemistry involves carrying out problems, making observations, analysis, interpretation, and making conclusions. You will enjoy this topic. Yeah, it's not just a matter of learning. You go to the lab, you will enjoy this. All sciences are meant to be enjoyed. Somebody who is doing the three sciences doesn't even need to go for an entertainment, because the subject already entertains you. There are many branches of chemistry. The 5 branches are considered to be organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, analytical chemistry, physical chemistry, and biochemistry. When you go to campus, you will study them as units and as courses. Let us review some of chemistry topics that we learned in primary science course. We are going to check one by one, don't worry. Topics covered in primary science which are studied under chemistry include properties of matter, mixtures, and methods of separation, drugs, and pollution. So let's start with matter. Matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. That is a definition that everybody knows. Exists in 3 states. We know the 3 states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Gas can sometimes be known as vapor. You can see this particular flow chart. The 3 states of matter are interconvertible, meaning what? You can change a solid to liquid, liquid to gas, and vice versa. So look here. The factor that is varied so that the change of state takes place is temperature. When you heat a solid, it becomes a liquid. When you heat a liquid, it becomes a gas or a vapor. When you cool a vapor or a gas, it becomes a liquid. And when you cool a liquid, it becomes solid. All these, you know their names. What we call the change of state from solid to liquid, liquid to gas, and vice versa. I'm not going to teach you that because you know it. Now, properties of matter. Physical properties of matter. We shall not check on chemical properties, but we are just checking on the physical properties. Solids have definite shapes that are not easily changed. It can be changed, yes, but they are not easily changed. Solids also have definite mass and volume. Mass is a measure of amount of matter in a substance. Volume is the space occupied by a substance. That one was necessary so that you know what we were talking about. Yeah, so solid, if you want to give a physical property of a state of a matter, you give us in terms of the shape, the mass, and the volume. Now, solid has the 3 of them being definite shape, definite mass, and definite volume. Different sizes of the same substance can contain different amounts of matter and therefore have different masses. Yes, when a solid is put in water, the water level rises. The rise in the level represents the volume of the solid. If you have put some liquid, maybe water, halfway in a container, then you put a stone, the level of water will rise. Why? Because the stone that you have just inserted inside the water, that's what occupies space. Let's look at the liquids. Properties of liquids. That is the physical properties of liquids. Liquids have have a definite mass and volume, but they take the shape of the container in which they are placed because they have the ability to flow. In short, I'm saying this: liquid have indefinite shape. They only have definite mass and definite volume, but indefinite shape. Let's look at the physical properties of gases. Gases have definite mass only, but do not have definite volume or shape. They can therefore be compressed to occupy small spaces and also expanded. Now, in terms of physical properties of states of matter, solid has all of them being definite. Shape, mass, and volume, all of them definite. When you come to now liquids, it is mass and volume that are definite. But shape is indefinite. Now, in gases, it is only mass that is definite. The rest are indefinite. Nice. So let's look at the mixtures. We are still reviewing topics. taught in primary school. Uh, Matter is found either as pure substance or as a mixture. A pure substance is one that consists of only one type of matter. For example, when you have maize alone, we can say pure substance because they are just maize. But when you mix with beans, it becomes a mixture. A mixture consists of two or more substances mixed together, and in which the individual components forming the mixture retain their physical and chemical properties. Yes, they retain what? For example, as we are moving forward, you will see I will be using an example of iron and sulfur. Sulfur is yellow, iron is gray. When you mix the two of them, it will give you a mixture. When you are very keen, you will see some gray particles and yellow particles. The gray particles is because of the iron filings. The yellow particles is because of the sulfur. What can we now say? It's a mixture. You can see their physical properties. But when you heat a mixture of iron and sulfur, it now reacts and it gives a compound, iron sulfide, which you will not see the physical, they do not retain the physical properties. A mixture can be separated by physical means such as winnowing, sieving, filtering, evaporating, decanting, and use of magnets. The choice of method to separate a given mixture depends on the nature and properties of the individual components forming the mixture. I will not dwell here so much, simply because after this topic, the next topic would be a topic on separation of mixtures. That is where we will discuss all this. But now we are just reviewing it. Let's look at, or let's review conductors and non-conductors. Substances which allow electrical energy to flow through them are conductors. Substances which do not allow electricity or electrical energy to flow through them are called non-conductors. We can also talk about heat, because if it can allow heat to pass through, it's a conductor. If it cannot allow heat to pass through, it is non-conductor. The other name for non-conductor is insulator. But once we get to higher levels of science, we will introduce another one in between conductors and non-conductors. We will call it semiconductor. Yes. Let's review drugs and drug abuse. A drug is any substance, natural or manufactured, which when used alters the way the body functions. If anything that you can take, then you don't think normally, you don't walk normally, you don't talk normally, that one is a drug, because it has altered the way your body functions. When you drink alcohol, you will not walk properly, you will not even talk properly, you will even speak things that people will wonder how. Now your brain is not working properly. That's a drug. When defining this thing, please don't say it's any substance that which when used alters the. It is either natural or manufactured. When you skip that, there is no one who will mark for you. Drugs used to treat diseases in human beings and other animals are known as medicines, which sometimes we call them the curative drugs. Medicines are administered by qualified medical officers in specific amounts called doses. So far, I've mentioned 3 terms. No, 4. Drug, medicine, then dose. Oh, those are 3. And I'm still mentioning more. So ensure you know how to define the word drug, what's medicine, what's a dose. Dose or doses. Somebody else can talk of dosage, which is still okay. Now, the written instructions by a qualified medical officer giving details on the type of drugs and how the drugs should be used is called a prescription. Prescription. Anytime you are given drugs in hospital, in chemist, is it chemist or pharmacist? Uh, there must be how you are supposed to take those drugs. 1 times 3 or 3 times 1. Your mathematics teacher will tell you 1 times 3 is the same as 3 times 1. But when your doctor tells you to take 1 times 3, please don't involve your mathematics teacher here. Don't go and take 3 times 1 because it is the same as 1 times 3. You will go back to hospital to seek further treatment. The use of a drug for a purpose other than what it is or it was meant for, or use of overdose or underdose of prescribed drugs, that one is what we call drug abuse. Drug abuse. Now, just drug abuse is simply using drugs for other purposes other than what it was meant for. Overdose and underdose is what we call drug misuse. Overdose or underdose is drug misuse. Don't confuse that. The definition to drug abuse seems to be drug misuse. No, I'm saying this, get it clearly. Overdose or underdose of drugs is drug misuse. Taking of drugs for the wrong purpose other than the purpose it was meant for when being manufactured is drug abuse. You take Piriton to sleep. That is not misuse. You are abusing Piriton. Drug abuse has harmful effects on the state of health of the user. The harmful effects include stress, depression, hallucination, addiction, and dependency, or may be fatal. You can die. Stress, a lot of money will be used. You will have no friends. Stress brings you to depression. Depression takes you to death because you will feel depressed. You commit suicide simply because you decided to take drugs. Hata kama usikiangi maneno, please sikia hii. Stop taking drugs. Hallucination, you will be seeing things that no one is seeing. It is you alone. When you walk, you see stairs. That's why you stagger. Addiction, you cannot do without. Addiction and dependency stands for the same thing. You cannot do without. You are dependent on a drug. The most common abused drugs, they include tobacco, alcohol, bang, miraa, which is also called cat. We have cocaine. We have mandrax. There are very many. We have long-term effects and we have short-term effects. So let me give you an exercise. Can you categorize effects of drugs into long-term and short-term? Short-terms are the ones which, when you take them, what happens? You only feel the effects at that given time. Long-term is even if you stop using today, for the coming several years, you will still be having those effects. Like addiction is a long-term effect. Today, if you just take a sip of alcohol, just a sip, then you don't do it again. You will never have the addiction. But take it for continuously, you will have addiction. And it is always difficult to stop whatever you have started. Harmful effects of smoking tobacco, specifically lung cancer and heart failure. Alcohol, on the other side, you will develop liver cirrhosis and all the problems associated to liver. Misuse of bang leads to mental disorders. Akili inaharibika. You go home, you see your father, unamuuliza unataka nini kwetu. You meet your sister, unamwambia it seems nimewahi kukuona mahali. You meet with your mom, unamuuliza anakupea sapa, unakula, then unamuuliza PayPal iko wapi, nataka nikulipe. Hiyo ni bangi. You go home, you meet your wife, unamuuliza yani ulikataa kabisa kuolewa, You know, that is bank. Na, hey, nyinyi hamjui, bank remains to be bank. That is why watu wanasemanga bangi si chai, bangi si mboga. Please, I've seen, let me now turn this lesson to to a talk. I've seen many guys never finishes from I mean university. Okay, they finish from 4 because you know sisi walimu wa high school tukikupata na bangi tutakutandika vibaya sana. Hata mimi nikikupata ukifanya makosa na kukonga vibaya sana, mangumi. I always train so that ukileta mchezo na nakutandika, because kama mtu amevuta bangi itabidi nikuwe nimetrain. Now I've seen many people in university, they don't finish their campus. Mtu amesoma vizuri kwa high school kapata A minus, B plus, a very good grade that qualifies you to go to study in a university. Ukaanza kufuta bangi, akili ikaharibika. Kitu moja inafaa ujue ni kwamba akili ikiharibika, mtu ako na akili mbaya aendangi class. You cannot study, so you have to drop out of school. Akili, so sometimes you can be taken to rehabilitation center, you come back normal. Sometimes the brain goes permanently. Hey, please, my dear brothers and sisters, wachana hiyo bangi. Prolonged use of cat leads to addiction, dependency, and vascular disorders. So in short, achana nayo. And by the way, NB, hii si hakuna mtu atakuuza hii kwa mtihani, lakini I'm just telling you. Anything that is bad, like drugs, any bad manners, it is very difficult to stop. Let me not mention all the bad manners you guys are, you know, but anything that's not allowed in the society, it is easier to start but difficult to stop. Kuna watu, they are struggling but they cannot tell you, struggling to stop something, like, but they can never tell you. If you are struggling, please can you tell other people so that they really know what it means to struggle. Tuachane na story na bangi sasa. Na wewe pia uachane na bangi. Now, role of chemistry in the society. In chemistry, substances are referred to as chemicals. You know, anything. Hata ukienda alafu ukutane na chumvi, ile chumvi unatumia ukiwa nyumbani, hatuitangi salt. Okay, it's a salt, yes, but we call it specifically. The chemical name of salt, for example, is sodium chloride. So anything in the lab, it's a chemical. The people who work with chemicals are chemists. I'm one of them. I'm a chemist. You are one of them. If you are studying chemistry, we shall be giving you chemicals. You are also a chemist. You are not far from being a doctor now. Imagine I'm calling you a chemist. You are not far from being a doctor. For those who want to be a doctor, not everybody can become a doctor. Some of us need to become farmers. See, pharmacy, and I'm talking about farmers. Chemistry offers various career opportunities in various fields, such as medicine, pharmacy, food technology, education, and engineering. Mimi niko hapo kwa education hapo. I'm a teacher. Chemistry has helped to improve standards of living in areas such as manufacture of drugs to fight diseases, food production to fight hunger. I can see a debate, GMO food. Let me not join that debate, but it's a debate that's going on right now. Manufacture of cheaper alternative fabrics such as nylon, polyester, and tetron. Manufacture of plastics for roofing, packaging, and domestic use. Manufacture of detergents, sapuni. Production of fuels for transport and domestic use. This includes alternative fuels to reduce global pollution as well as to supplement the fossil fuels. Good. Let me just give you 3 questions. Define chemistry. I've just they're here. What role does chemistry play in the society? Just answer them. You post the screen and you start answering them. What's a drug? Name 3 frequently abused drugs. There was a question our teacher set for us when I was in high school, Form 1. Name the commonly drugs you abuse. I didn't understand the question, so I gave drugs um, that are being abused, alcohol, bank. Now after that, they read the question very well. Name drugs that you commonly abuse. So the question was that personal. So now in this case, when I'm giving you this question, name 3 frequently abused drugs, not you. Hata kama ni wewe, you just give us the drugs. State 2 long-term effects of drug abuse. State 2 long-term effects. Now I'm becoming too specific. Long-term alone. Differentiate between a dose and a prescription. Name 4 career opportunities open to a chemist. Tumesema teacher, hizo zote weka hapo. Yes. Now let me get to chemistry laboratory. Hey, hii naye lazima usome vizuri. A laboratory is a building or a special room where chemicals and apparatus are kept and in which practical subjects such as chemistry are studied. Ukiuliza hii swali kwa physics, unamalizia hapo mbele, in which practical subjects such as physics are studied. Kama ni biology, unamalizia unasema in which practical subjects such as biology are studied. So it is a room, that is a special room or a building where chemicals and apparatus are kept. Yes. And in which practical subjects such as chemistry are studied. Safety in the laboratory. Now laboratory, iko na chemicals, and I've seen many people, not only the students, lab technicians, or even the teachers, but also anybody getting to the lab. Some of them are getting burned by the chemicals. Actually, they're very dangerous. The only thing that keeps you safe is being careful and being cautious. So you have to. Now, because learning of chemistry emphasizes on practical work, it is necessary that certain rules are followed to ensure safety in the laboratory. These rules, you either follow the rules, or you get banned, or you get beaten by the teacher. So you will choose one. In my class, you always choose one: to follow the rules, or you choose to be beaten by me. I will really beat you. So that it's better I beat you than chemicals burning you. But anywhere, please, when we are going to the lab, you will always see me with a whip, so that you just walk slowly. There are rules that you will see right now. You just walk slowly, get in, do the practicals the way the teacher or the lab technician will guide you. But the main thing is accidents that occur in the lab is just because of carelessness, not of the teacher or the lab technician, but of the students. I remember unajua niko na story mingi, lakini ni mimi ndio nafunza, so lazima munisikize. It's the only way you can hear me. During the normal days nikisema kuja hapa tupige story, hakuna mwanafunzi anaweza kuja. Sasa nawapikia story. Unajua sasa when I was in high school, mimi nikafanya practical zangu na jamaa fulani, just mixed chemicals. When it produces a sound, later on lab technician told me I've never heard such a sound, but I was whipped for doing unnecessary practicals. Kajua hii ni kubaya. Alafu after hapo nikapelekwa nje na concentrated sulfuric 6 acid, then they pour the acid on green grass. The grass dried immediately. Now my eyes opened. I became more serious in life. All chemicals with environmental and health impacts must be stored in well-labeled containers with appropriate safety warning. Symbols clearly visible. I'm just laughing. Kitchen is like a lab. Kuna majani, kuna chumvi, kuna sukari, kuna roiko, kuna vitu mingi. You just imagine your kitchen, and all of them are not labeled. But mom anajua vizuri, hii chupa, hii kitu, hii container ni ya chumvi na ni ya 202. Before, by the way, just look at some of the containers your mom are using. Zingine ni ya 99. I saw kuna ingine my shosha anatumia. Yani I've just grown up seeing that container. It's not labeled, but inajulikana hii ni ya machani. Baka imekuwa black kama machani. ya sukari. Kuna siku ukiwa mgeni uache kimbele mbele. Kuna siku nilienda mahali fulani, kumbe ni opposite. Ile container inakwanga chumvi, kwetu kwao ni ya majani. Niliweka majani kwa mboga, lakini si hata majani ni leaves tu imekuwa dry, tukakula hivyo. So now in the lab all of them must be labeled. Kama ni the name of a certain chemical, it must be labeled. Now let's look at these rules, laboratory safety rules. Never run while in the laboratory because you may trip, fall and injure yourself or other users of the laboratory. Never test or eat anything in the laboratory to avoid poisoning. Always consult your teacher before trying any experiment to avoid accidents. Now I committed the third one. I never committed anybody. I never consulted anybody. I just did. Nikatandikwa vibaya sana. And I am here to repay back. Ukifanya mchezo na kutandika vibaya sana. Never test or eat anything in the lab to avoid poisoning. Please don't. Nikikuletea avocado huko lab biology, ama nikuletee chumvi chemistry, ama nikuletee lemon in physics, please don't eat. Ukisema if I see you running in the lab, you will join athletics team by default. You will have to until or I suspend you home. Now always label all the chemicals you are using to avoid confusion. That is it. Always use a clean spatula for scooping substance from a container to prevent contamination. Najua ujui spatula ni nini? Spatula ni kijiko ya kutumia kwa lab ya kuscoop chemicals. For example, ati umetumia kijiko kuscoop chumvi, then the same kijiko umetumia kuscoop sukari. Hiyo sukari umecontaminate. That is the same thing that happens in the lab. There are very many rules. Maybe Mr. Choka, I will go through all of them one by one until number 17. Always hold test tubes or boiling tubes using a test tube holder when heating to avoid being burned. Hiyo hata siambiangi mtu, hiyo ni kutumia akili. Ukishika test tube na mkono itakuchoma tu, hiyo siambiangi mtu. When heating a substance in a test tube or boiling tube, never let the open end face you or anybody else because the liquid may spat out and cause injury. Now in this case, afadhali hata ikuface kuliko iface mwenzako. Kama umekosana na mtu class, usilete hiyo maneno kwa lab. Never look directly in the flask and test tubes where reactions are taking place because the chemicals may spat into your eyes and cause injury. That one is very dangerous. Please, let me become more serious. Please, don't commit number 8. I'm not saying you commit the others. Never smell gases directly. Instead, waft. Waft is you use your hand. I wish I was able to show you. Use your hand, but I know you've been shown, to like direct the gas to your nose. That is wafting because you just smell a small amount of the gas. Experiment in which poisonous gases are produced must be carried out in a fume chamber or cupboard or in the open air outside the lab. Hiyo naye mkifanya ujinga hiyo gases are real poisonous. Always keep flammable substances away from flames because they easily catch fire. Report any accidents to the teacher or the laboratory technician immediately for necessary action. Necessary action include slapping you, taking you to the nurse, washing your face, just for your safety. In case of a serious accident such as fire, hii inakuanga hii sitaona watu wakifanya hivyo. Okay, I've seen fire in the lab, but the students will flee and they cause themselves more harm than if they could calmly walk out. Don't scramble for the exit. Doing so would hinder easy escape. Now let me tell you, and this is now true. Hii kenye nitaka kusema ni kweli. If I'm in the lab and there is a fire breakout, there is no way being the teacher I will be the first one to get out. I will not. If it is burning, let's burn all together, but I will be the last person to get out of the lab. So why scramble? In fact, you just open the door, walk out. Pole pole too. No one. The problem is now scrambling. All of you will close the door. Hakuna mwenye ako willing atoke ndio mlango ifunguke. You know what I'm talking about. Always extinguish flames that are not in use to avoid accidents and minimize fuel wastage. If a chemical gets on your skin or in your mouth, rinse it immediately with a lot of clean water. Chemicals chemicals already used must always be disposed of safely to avoid contamination. Ukishatumia chemicals ukaona imepaki kwa container, no, don't say niliambiwa don't waste. Hapana, just pour it out to the sink. Always work on a clean bench. Clean all the pieces of apparatus used and store them at the end of each experiment. So that is the introduction. Whatever you are seeing apparatus used in the in chemistry, that's our second lesson. Ukimalizana na hii, also join the second lesson all the way. I'm very happy to take you all through. So don't just leave, please share with high school students. I'm teaching you for free. I'm not asking you to pay for me, but because I have uploaded it in YouTube, I want you to do the following: share, subscribe, comment, and like. God bless you.